to film now on the afternoon show on BBC Radio Scotland. And just last month, they were embroiled in the battle for an iron seat in Game of Thrones. But now the versatile Scots actor IAIN GLEN teams up with Lena Headey once again for The Flood. It's a very different film. It's a gritty drama focused on the refugee crisis that aims to show the complexity and humanity on all sides. The refugees, the immigration officers who decide their fate, and the human traffickers. You can hear Ian in conversation about it all with our reporter Siobhan Sinnott in just a moment. But first, here's a clip from the film.
Yes, Wendy, how can I help you?
I just spoke to Keith and he says that I've been taken off.
Oh, I know. I apologise. I meant to get a message. She didn't need to come in early.
It's fine.
I'm sure you can guess why.
I think I'm more than capable.
What? No, of course you are. No, you're the only one keeping to the quota. No, they want him fast-tracked. Rather keen to get him out before the election. He's in the immigration service, and he is Lena Headey's boss in it, who is interviewing a man who's seeking asylum, who's gone through a very horrible journey from his home country of Eritrea, where he was persecuted. So I am an immigration officer.
It's very much a story of our times, isn't it? Was that the attraction for you?
Yes. Listen, it's an extraordinary subject. It does feel very important, and unfortunately it feels like it's being a little bit lost as the British Parliament disappears up its own posterior. Currently, the notion that there might be things happening in the world that are more important than our own wrestlings with ourselves as we try and work out who should govern us and whether we should be inside the European Union or not. And these stories of refugees and people genuinely seeking asylum has got a little bit lost. It's also got a little grey with immigration generally as a whole. I think the filmmakers deliver a really clear and informative and touching story that zones in on one particular man's journey. And hopefully by doing so, the story is quite universal in what it tells us about these people's predicament.
Where did you arrive in Europe?
Italy.
Good.
Most people don't tell us where.
Why?
They get sent back.
Can you produce your own national passport today?
No, I'm very sorry.
Have you owned a passport?
Yes.
Can you produce the document in 3 days?
No.
Why not?
It's in the sea.
Part of the nature of the drama is that the people who are having to tick these boxes and fill in these forms and make these decisions are quite divorced in a way from the experiences that have brought people to the point of being in front of them and making their appeals. I sort of greatly admired the filmmakers for their research, which I thought was utterly imbued within the script that I was saying the words of. But all that research, I think, had found its way into the story and into the writing.
You're right, it's a film of two parts, isn't it? It's got you and Lena Headey leading the assessment as to whether the story from Ivano Jeremiah's character is true, and then we see the perilous journey that his character has in making his way to the UK. The Flood is one of the first British feature films to tackle the refugee crisis. What influence do you think films like this can have on the way we think about refugees?
Who knows? I just don't know. You hope. It's like, do they affect opinion? But I hope that it just highlights the issues, it highlights the problems. As I say, I think that we're living currently in a culture in the UK in which we're very navel-gazing. Certainly the political classes, we're sort of wrestling with ourselves. And sometimes I look at the newspapers and I've really, really lost interest. I mean, I could not care less about who runs the Conservative Party. It feels utterly silly and pointless. And so you hope that a little bit that a film like is something that people go and see brings issues that are a little bit more important to the fore.
It makes me think in a wider context and makes me wonder, Ian, what films have had the kind of impact that The Flood may have on viewers? Have there been films in the past that have had an impact on you?
In the beginning of my career, I did a film called Silent Scream, which was about the Barlini Special Unit. And again, that seemed to do very well in festivals around the world and resonated in different countries. And again, personally gave me a great insight into the ways that we can hopefully look to rehabilitate people and not send them back out in the streets to commit the same crimes. But I'm not sure.
This is the first time we've seen you since Game of Thrones. How's life without it?
It's good. It's all right, actually. Yeah, no, it's One of the nice things about Thrones is people sort of imbue the actors with it as if it's kind of utterly preoccupied one, and that one was in every frame of it. But it was always such a big sweeping drama that we, as actors, we're always allowed and able to do other things around it, either when Thrones wasn't finishing or certainly in the earlier seasons while Thrones was finishing. So, career-wise and certainly family-wise and all-wise, I've been very busy doing other things. And before that, I was doing a film with the BBC called The Children, which was about when a large group of children orphan children from the Holocaust, mainly Polish children, were brought over to the UK and given a new life, initially in the Lake District, obviously having suffered the most awful traumas. But it's a redemptive story about how amazingly well-adjusted these children became and what wonderful things they did and staying in the UK, which I guess kind of brings us back to the flood, because these were people, outsiders, who had gone through the most awful experiences, that were welcomed by the British Jewish community into the UK and shown a different life and a life of, possibility and non-persecution, and were transformed by it and then gave wonderful things back to the UK.